and the opportunity is still there. And there's still the people that are saying it, how impossible it is, not just challenging, but like, man, you better just figure out something else. And so I think that it has to do a little bit with just like the type of energy that you allow to, like, to be around you. I just won't allow the opportunity for something to be impossible. I'm going to figure out how to do it, or I'm going to go and seek out somebody that's done it and look at that and just tell myself, okay, well, no more excuses, because if they've made it happen, then there's no reason that I can't.
Right, dude. And that brings up something that I've really been thinking a lot about. And it's this concept, maybe it's a myth, maybe there's some truth to it, but I call it like getting big leagued. So, and I think it can be an ideology, but I think it can also be like something that maybe happens. But now that you said that, I'm starting to question it. And what I mean by being big leagued is like, oh, like you're too inexperienced for this, or stuff's moving this way, we're going from studios to home studios, or it's really hard to break into this, things that give that feeling and emotion of like, you're trying to get to the big leagues, right, to the NFL or the NBA, like, oh, you're like, this is too big, this is for someone else and not for you. But what do you think of that? Is there such thing as like as that? And then B, do you think it's as easy to overcome as what you just said? Like, nothing is going to stand in my way if I believe that nothing will stand in my way?
Yeah, I believe that because that was my experience. So totally, that's the only like truth that I can share, because that was the experience that I had. I don't think that you can just say it and have it happen. You have to back it up with action.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that like, and just really get in the habit of like that there can't be an excuse why. And that's a really challenging thing that I still struggle with, because there are times where like I get big leagued with stuff, and there's still definitely heights that I have not reached that I plan on reaching, that I will, but where I feel a little like, I feel like I've at least earned like a conversation about this, or just get bummed out, or you start to take things personally and don't realize like all the other things that are going, around within it. And I think that we also assume things like too quickly, and that also comes with taking things personally, which was one of the strongest things that I've learned to have be a continuing thing to work on, is to just push past that and realize that there's nothing that you should actually take personally, which can get pretty deep into the weeds with how to approach that. But I firmly believe in that after having experienced the difference in it. And a simple way to say it is like, there's not much value that will come out of you taking something personally in that situation. Yeah. You're still going to be in the same place that you were, except you're letting that individual put you in a place that isn't moving forward, but is rather dwelling on what's not happening, rather than figuring out, another way around it. It doesn't do any of us any good to be worried about that or take offense to something. And just say, okay, that's cool, I'm going to figure out another way around it. Now that's a lot easier said than done. Sure. So when you say that, is it as easy as doing that? I would say it's as simple as saying it, but it's not as easy as just saying it. It definitely takes like the action around it. And it's something that I still like continue to struggle with, even with as much as I've worked on my mindset and work on it on a daily basis. It's part of my like morning ritual, is reminding myself of these principles that have really allowed me to help move forward and find some really great fulfillment in life. But I still get in those places where like my wife knows that there's a couple times a year that I'm going to get bummed out and tell her like, man, I feel like my career's over. Yeah. You just get in that funk, and it's obviously not true. And like things pick right back up, and, it's all great. But you start to get those feelings and it's, I think a little bit of it is the curse of the artist, of just that idea of, self-doubt that we have to continue to try to work past and break out of.